A directorial debut is often more important than you would ever realize. It often represents for a filmmaker the first time they truly have the power to make whatever they want. Money backed by the studios with an out-and-out mission, make a good piece of art that earns money for us. In the world of animation, we get times where studios often release only one film every 2 to 3 years, which in turn causes the brand to weaken after a lack of exposure. So the people you put in charge of your films matter. Meanwhile, the films you release when you have the power also matters. Which brings us to today's story, Cats Don't Dance. Cats Don't Dance is a 1997 film that's also the second film released by Warner Bros. Feature Animation. Warner had a quite impressive empire of shorts that they released in the older days of the 1900s, but midway through the 90s, Space Jam was a big revival that released, and it was a medium blending film. Space Jam was a massive splash in 1996, dare we call it a slam dunk.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
The film cracked into the year-end global top 10. Unfortunately for Cats Don't Dance, it made a mere $3.5 million at the box office, to the point that when you go to animated films of 1997 on Wikipedia, Cats Don't Dance doesn't even show up in the top 10. And yet, this little film is super relevant to the weaving story of what we're doing, because of the person it brings to the director chair, Mark Dindal. Cats don't direct, so they hired the human Mark Dindal. Mark Dindal is an animator who was born in 1960 in Columbus, Ohio. After school, he would move out to California and study at Cal Arts, and by the age of 21, he begins his career at Disney, starting with Fox and the Hound in the heyday of the 80s. Following that, he would put years in at both Disney and then other animated productions of this era at the various studios who wanted to throw their shots in the ring and then miss. His hard work paid off though when he landed a role debuting as the director for Cats Don't Dance, based on previous experience directing a segment of the Disney film The Rocketeer. Cats don't dance, but Michael Jackson does. Let's go back to the concept behind Space Jam for a moment. Space Jam's essentially a star vehicle for Michael Jordan starring the Looney Tunes, but it's also a film that plays things insanely safe. Top tier talent plus the Looney Tunes is a rather solid formula, and they did it for sports, so let's do it for music. Enter Michael Jackson. In 1993, Cats Don't Dance was originally built as a star vehicle for Jackson, but by 1994, he had cut ties with the production. Now, you're not gonna let those perfectly good dollars go to waste just because Michael Jackson was busy. Let's rebuild it. Soon the film would replace almost everything that the Jackson project was about, and then also replace the Looney Tunes with generic cartoon animals. And we get to where we are here and now. A film about an animal who wants to break into Hollywood, stylized as a classic musical of the era. And Cats Don't Dance is ready to release in 1997. Cats Don't Dance. Cats Don't Dance is a film about Danny, a cat aspiring actor who moves from the Midwest to become an actor in 1939. He's a fountain of optimism who solely views Hollywood as the place where dreams are made, but he's also the embodiment of a lot of the perception people outside of Hollywood think of the city. Quickly though, upon his arrival, a lot of Danny's hopes are dashed. Animals have no capacity to get anything more than roles that treat them as props, and Danny finds this out the hard way after getting cast on a Noah's Ark film. Noah's Ark stars Darla Dimple, who's the hottest child star in town and has a vested interest in not getting upstaged by animals. The only thing that she knows to be cuter and more marketable than she is. The film's plot is honestly pretty generic. Danny wants animals to be bona fide actors, he fights for it, he falls in love, and Darla has her downfall. All set to the vibes of a golden age musical, and while the story is not really worth discussing in my opinion, it's fine. It does its job. I more want to talk about the film's oozing charisma, because make no mistake, this really isn't even just a family film, it's a kid's film. It's a good kid's film, but it's a kid's film nonetheless. I don't see, like, the dudes coming to watch Cats Don't Dance and going happy out of it, you know? The charm, though, of Cats Don't Dance truly lands with the animation and music. The film feels good, it's nice to look at, the cinematography is fun, but I think the film's actual writing feels a bit more direct to DVD. But like, good direct to DVD. I don't think Cats Don't Dance would ever really make sense for a theatrical release. Warner seems to disagree, but we'll talk about that later. The film's songs are the highlight, I think. They're warm, they're fun, and the real breakout is the film's villain song, Big and Loud. Big and Loud is the first part of the film I'd ever seen, and it's always stood out to me as a banger villain song. I am happy Cats Don't Dance was made. It was good for Dindal to get a foot in the directing door, but the tragic thing about Cats Don't Dance is its fate. But they do flop. So we talked about this in the intro, but I want to properly explore it here. The box office gross to Cats Don't Dance is sad. $3.5 million on a $32 million budget. That's a laughable gross for a film, and in the days of the Disney Renaissance no less. People were tiring on 2D animation at this point, and the film really doesn't have any theatrical draws. This was inevitable. I watched the trailer, and this is one of the worst trailers I've ever seen. I don't know how we got away with for so long as a society having trailer after trailer trailer of just saying character name, character name, character name. Like, I can do that in my own house. The one and only Phineas, editor Limlin, Puppet Phineas again, Puppet Phineas again. It's all Puppet Phineas. This is what the show is. But that being said, I think something Warner does better than its rivals, at least in this era, is reviving flops. Over time, Cats Don't Dance would find another audience because when one of your partners is Turner, they own Cartoon Network, and that channel has kept a lot more films alive than you'd think. In the future, at some point, I want to do a video on Iron Giant, and Cartoon Network is integral to the survival and eventual cultural presence of the Iron Giant. Being clear though, I don't think Cats Don't Dance is like a major film post a bit of a revival. I don't think about Cats Don't Dance too often unless I'm talking about Cats Don't Dance. The big win for the film was when the 25th Annie Awards happened. They won Best Animated Picture over Hercules and Space Jam, which I kind of agree with. I'm so sorry, Hercules fans, not sorry, Space Jam fans, but I think for the purpose of this era, we gotta talk about something. What happened to the people behind Cats Don't Dance? Cats don't rob the grave of Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson is dead. He died in 2009. Why am I talking about him? He never even worked properly on Cats Don't Dance. This entire section is pointless, and you should probably just skip to the next section. But because you're listening to this, there's a 99% chance that you are sitting on the toilet with your AirPods, and your phone is in the other room. So now, you get to hear a section of audio where I, in fact, confirm to you that in the current year, Michael Jackson is dead. Don't say I never gave you anything. Cats didn't rob the career of Mark Dindal. Going back to Mark Dindal, as he is a bit of a main character in this series, he would almost immediately return to Disney after Cats Don't Dance, but this time as director. Disney would grant him the project Kingdom of the Sun, which would evolve into Emperor's New Groove. Check back into this channel like next month, because I'm gonna do a video on that film also. I just need to more heavily research its production. Unfortunately for Dindal, New Groove also underperformed at the box office because at that point, Disney fatigue was reaching its apex, and as I mentioned in the Bolt video, Emperor's New Groove is kind of the long-lost Renaissance film. Mark would soon, though, be given a chance at Disney to create one more film. That film's name was Chicken Little. Hey, so you're probably wondering why that was the ending, and well, it's because I did this video to give some history in service of the bigger project. If you're a first-time Cats Don't Dancer on my channel, I guess I can call you that. This is part of a 7-part series and run of videos that all are feeding into one bigger project coming out on October 30th. That's the one hard deadline. A lot of these are gonna come out sooner, but that's what it's all working up to. But it's been really fun because Cats Don't Dance is both fascinating and then also just a missing link between some projects. It's fun diving into film history because everything that happens here feeds into each other. So in the pipeline, there's about 7 videos that are part of the retrospective, and I'll give you some more details now. The focuses are on Mark Dindal, John Lasseter, and Michael Eisner, and how these 3 intersect in a little bit of ways. Dindal has another film outside of the 3, but it's gonna be part of another video trilogy I want to do. But in the meantime, you should do cool things like subscribing to me and joining my Patreon. I don't have anything up as the time of recording this that's super special on Patreon, but I'm gonna start doing it soon. I'm trying to get into the habit of releasing more raw thoughts there because I do watch other media than just what I discuss. I have a life, Mom. Thank you for tuning in again, and I hope you enjoyed learning more about cats dancing. Take care. Bye.